This is Gemara Sanhedrin Daf Nun Beis, and all the learning should be an incredible zchus. Rafua Shalima for Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva B'siyata Dishmaya the Koyach HaTorah should continue bringing the ultimate Yeshua. Is culminating B'siyata Dishmaya with a complete Rafua Shalema B'Karayv. We are holding on in an Aleph Amid Beis, and we're in the middle of a back and forth, a discussion between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael. And the discussion upon hand is, what is the Misa that both a Naira Hamurasa, a woman that is betrothed and is Mizaneh, a Nisuya, a woman that is fully married and is Mizaneh, and a Penuya, a woman who is single who is Mizaneh. So we finished off the previous year with the line of Rabbi Akiva, 4 lines into the white lines. On Nun Aleph Beis, which Rabbi Akiva said, Ahani gzira shava lemute penuya, v'ahani bas ubas l'rabois as an isuya. On one hand, we're excluding; on the other hand, we are including. Responds Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael Savar, Midika Amr le bas ubas. Says Rabbi Yishmael, from the fact that the pasuk says, from the fact that you, Rabbi Akiva, said that we have a drasha of bas ubas, Shema mina hader be migzera shava. So Rabbi Yishmael is responding to Rabbi Akiva that the ubas should come along and include an unmarried woman. Rabbi Yishmael, says the Gemara, Hai basu bas my darshi be. How does he darshan it? Mi boi le lichletani avu ad Yishmael baravin. Lefisha matzinu, because we find shechalak ha'kosav b'scharim, that the Torah differentiated amongst zecharim, male kohanim. In what sense? Being timimim lebalimumim. Yachal, I would think not like Bibna Yisayah, maybe the same differentiation should apply to their daughters. And a daughter of a Kayin whom is a Balmum should not have the regular Kedusha. And the Misa should be like a Yisrael, not a Kayin. That's why you need the extra drasha, that even the bas of what? Of a Kayin with a mom gets the same sreifa like other baskaites. Rabbi Akiva, how does he know this din about a girl, the daughter of a kain with a mum? May v'haim ma'akrivim avayu kodesh nafka, the extra vav. Rabbi Yishmael, if that was a Josh Avaminani really inhu. Aval min Isayhem loy, I think it only includes the kanim themselves and not their daughters. Kamash Malan. Therefore, that's why we need the Eshet Drasha of Bas Ubas. Says the Gemara, okay, Rabbi Yishmael, turning over to Membeis Amid Aleph. Hi. Esaviyahi Mechalalas my Darshi Bey. What does he do with the Drasha of Esaviyahi Mechalalas? This was part of the Gzera Shava of Rabbi Akiva, says the Gemara. Mi We're on the second line of the Membeis Amid Aleph. We need it for the following brayso. Rabbi Meir, what is the meaning of the pasuk? Esaviyahi mechaleles. She profanes her father. She'em hayanoi hagin ba kodesh, noi hagin ba yichol. What this means were that if their father had a din of kodesh, then they treat him as chol. Kavay noyim ba bizayin. If prior he got kavay, now he gets bizayin. Mrim, they're going to say, Arur Shezu Yolad, Arur Shezu Gildal. Curse is the one that gave birth to such a girl. Curse is the one that raised such a girl. Arur Sheyotza Zu Mechalotov. Curse is the one in which this girl came from. Amr Avashi, Kaman Karina and Rishia Bar Rishia. Whom, according to what opinion, do we call someone a Rasha Bar Rasha? Vila Rishia Bar Tzadika, Kaman Kahaitano. Even if someone is really a Rasha Bar Tzaddik, even though the father did nothing wrong, we call them a Rasha Bar Rasha, like the Tana that we just said, that even based on the Avira of the child, we're able to show dishonor to the father, to the Kayin, therefore referring to him as a Rasha Bar Rasha. Continues the Gemara, the 2 dots, 8 lines down as we wrap up this Mishnah. Zu mitzvahs haniskalin. The Mishnah concluded that this is the mitzvah haniskalin. Man Tana, says the Gemara, Dekatani, Zu mitzvah haniskalin. Who is the Tana? Says the Gemara, Misham the Tana, because the Mishnah said, Nigmar hadin moitzino salisalku, you take him out for skila, and he says skila gavay shtei kaimais. Vaydi kabay lemista mitzvah nisrafim. Taninami zu mitzvahs haniskalin. Because it wants to now move on to the mitzvah hanisrafim, which is going to be the next Mishnah. So it almost gives you an ending. It ends the previous Mishnah saying this was the mitzvah haniskalin, and now let's go weiter. Weiter, says the Mishnah. Mitzvahs hanisrafim, the mitzvah of Sreifa. They would submerge him in manure at Arkubaisab until his knees. They put a scarf, a sudar, which is kosher, which is stiff, inside a soft scarf, and wrap it around his neck, excuse me. This one pulls this way, this one pulls that way, until he opens his mouth. They light a wick, they pour into his mouth, and the boiling halad goes into his stomach, and burns out his intestines. Quite a difficult misa of skila. Says the Gemara, Rav Yehuda, says Rav Yehuda, if he has to die by strangulation, then there's no sreifa. So Rav Yehuda doesn't like the precursor step. Ella, we don't pull his neck in order to get him to open his mouth, says Rav Yehuda on the first white line. Ella paisech es piv. How? Bitzvas shaloi b'tevasai. They pry it open with tongs. They don't pull it around his neck, causing him to open his mouth. They use tongs. And then, says Rav Yehuda, Madikas Absila v'zarka l'teichpev yirad tzachmeya v'chaimeres es b'nei mei ayov. Omer Rav Elazar ben Tzaddik Ma'isiv Askoi Nachas Shezinta v'kifuach chavolei zmoirais. She was mizana, and what do? They surrounded her with bundles of branches and v'zarfua, and they burnt her. So says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, seemingly that's how you perform Sreifa. No, that's not a raya. That Bezdin did not know what to do, but really what you should do is open the mouth and pour it in. It says Marmai Psila, the Mishnah said that you light a wick and then you open his mouth. Amrav Master Psila Shal Avar. As we explained, it's a wick of lead. Continues the Gemara Minol, and where do we know that is what is Sreifa is lead? Says the Gemara, Asya Sreifa Seifa Me'adas Kairach Malan Sreifas Nisham of Guf Kayim. By Kairach, the insides were burnt out and the body was alive. Afkan Sreifas Nisham of Guf Kayim. Rav Lazai Mer Asya Sreifa Seifa Me'ar, another source. Malal and Sreifas Nisham of Guf Kayim by Nodven Aviyu. Afkan Sreifas Nisham of Guf Kayim. Man Diyolav, says the Gemara, Me'adas Kairach Minole. Says the Gemara, the one that learns that from Adas Kairach Minole, where do they know it from? Dechsev es machtem achatam ha'ila b'nafsheisim shenishmasan isreifes v'gov kayim v'edoch ha'i sreifa mamishi u'mai b'nafsheisim shenischayvu sreifa al iskei nafsheisim. Doesn't mean they actually burned from the inside. This means that's why they were chayiv sreifa k'der Rish Lakish. D'amar Rish Lakish mai dechsev v'chanfei lagi mo'oik cherik al shinei moi b'shvil chanufa Shechnifu Kairach al Iskei. It was because of the Chanufa that Kairach gave al Iskei Ligima about feasting Chorak Aleim Sar Shel Gehenim. The angel of Gehenim closed his teeth upon him. Uman Diyala Shinav. Uman Diyala and the Ara Minali. Where does he see from? The Chsev. It was like a death. I mean, their bodies were alive, the insides were burned. So why is the word say vayamaisu? Says the Gemara, because it began from the inside, ke'ein misa, like a normal death, but then it spread outside. The Tanya of Yesi ben Tustoy Aimer, Shnei Chutin Shal Eish, two strings of fire. Yatsav beis kodesh HaKodashim went for the kodesh HaKodashim v'nechlu la'arba, and it split into 4 strands of fire. V'nechlasu, and it entered shnayim b'chayt mishal zeh v'shnayim b'chayt mishal zeh. This is in the story of the Nadam and Avihu went into their nose. The Shalzeh, the servant, and burnt them up. It says the Gemara, we learn out, they were burnt, but not their clothing. Says the Gemara, why do we not learn from Parim and Israfim, Mala and Shreifa Mamish, Afghan Shreifa Malish? If the whole thing is Xer Shava, then wait, maybe we should learn for the Parim and Israfim that it's actual Shreifa. Says we are Mistavra me Adam Avilah Milav Shkin Adam Chayte in the Shama. Shkin Adam Chayte. Why? Because a person sinned. Therefore, it makes more sense that we're learning about Shkin Adam Chayte in the Shama Pigel. Says the Gemara. Adarabba mi Parmen Mistavra Milav Shkin Machshul Dairais, because that's a din Dairais Hanach Lefishin. Mandial Hanach Lefishin says the Gemara. There's more reasons to learn from the other one. There's more similarity. So says Mar, okay, let's flip the tables. Mandi al man that's karich my time al mimni aroi and who's straight from mamish havai. I vinil of me no. Amar Nachman Ravu Amar Krav after the recha come vayich says Gemara Barlo Misa Yafi wanted the painless death as possible. Says Gemara. Once we have this din of Barlo Misa Yafi, what are we doing with Xer Shava? Says Gemara love Xer Shava mean the Streifas Neshama Gov Kayim Lav Streifa He Klal. I think that doesn't have a din of Streifa. V'imisham, and if you're going to tell me, wait, you have to recha kamecha, love shecham alizmayris, we have to surround him by bundles of reeds, and maybe that's the way to have a painless death as possible. Keichet lisraf le'agol. Kamash Malon says the Gemara, that's not the way you do it, and you have to pour it down to burn him from the insides. Continues the Gemara, once we bring up Nadav and Avihu, let's go a little bit deeper into the sugya over there. We're walking, they were walking after them. Said, when will these 2 old men, Moshe and Aaron, die? And I and you, Nanigis Hadar, we are going to lead the people. Hanira mi koiver as me, says Hashem. You think you're going to bury them? Amar Abba, I know damri inchi nafish gamli sabo detini mashchi tehogni. Says Rabba, this is what people say. Many old camels are laden with the hide of the younger ones. The fact that you think you're going to bury them is not going to be true. And they'll bury you. Excuse me, you're going to end up burying them. Omar Rav Elazar continues the Gemara as we turn over to Nun Beis Amid Beis. Explains the Gemara, Lema Talmidei Chacham, Lema Talmid Chacham Daimeh. To what is he Talmid Chacham Daimeh Lefnei Am Aretz? In the eyes of the Am Aretz, how does he view the Talmid Chacham? B'tzchil Daimeh Lekitin Shal Zav, a golden jug. V'sipor Heimanu Daimeh Lekitin Shal Kasef. But then, if he talks to him on a low level, he thinks he's silver and enemy manu. But then he gets a gift from him. Once it breaks, then there's nothing more that can be done. There's no way that he can get his respect anymore. Says the Gemara 5 lines down in Beis Amid Beis, Imrasa bas Tali bas Koyin shezinta havai. Imrasa, that was her name, the daughter of the Tali, who was a Koyin's daughter. So it's a granddaughter of a Koyin. Shezinta. Akfa Rav Chamber Tivya Chavilis Meres Rafa. Rav Chamber Tivya surrounded her by Chavilis Meres, bundles of branches and burnt. Amar Rav Yosef, Tabitarti, number 1, Tab with the Rav Nasne. As we just saw, that what you pour the lead down the throat, and number 2, Vitabi the Tanya. That the whole din of Misa beds and only when they're Kohanim. So what are you doing, taking matters in your own hand and burning this girl? 2 mistakes that were made. Continues the Gemara, quoting the end of the Mishnah, about 12 lines down. Amar Rav Elazar Rav Sadik Ma'isvas Kain Shezinta. Amar Rav Yosef Bezdin Shal Sadukim Havai Hachi. This was a Bezdin of Sedukim, and that's usually they burnt her by having the branches around her now with lead. Says the Gemara. This is what Rav Lazar said. This is what he responded. Vatanya. I remember I was on my tata's shoulder. Shalaba. They brought a baskin that was Mizadavik don't tell me anything. Maybe I'm in a cut. Don't bring a ram when you were a child. Says the Gemara. So what exactly happened? There are two different stories. Hey, what happened first? They didn't listen to him. So was it just cause that he was a katan, but rather the bezdin of that time weren't able to facilitate the appropriate halacha? They themselves weren't b'kiyim. We continue with the Mishnah Mitzvah Nehargin, the mitzvah of those who are beheaded on the end of the narrow lines. They will cut off the head beside for the sword. The kings would do Rabbi Nivelu. That's disgusting. Nivelu lai ela manichra esreishay al sadin. Rather, they would place his head on a sadon, on a block, and chop it off with an axe. Ain't me someone else. What are you talking about? That's even more disgusting. So says the Gemara, what is going on here with Rabbi Yehuda? Tanya. I know it's a gross way of killing someone. What should I do? Tyra says don't follow the Goyim, so he can't do like you. So it might be more disgusting to put his head on the chopping block. What am I supposed to do? Say the Rabbanan. Once the Torah says sword, we don't learn anything from then. And rather, this is how we kill him. How do we burn? The Torah state already. So therefore, and then we do it in a certain manner, and that's not called copying the Goyim. We're not learning from them. You're also keeping the a big sugya, but a raya in the sugya of Chukasein Lo Seilechu, as the Gemara is proving to us that if this is your methodology, but the Goyim happen to do similar, that's not a problem of Chukasein. Says the Gemara of Haditanan Bidach Berkin. Now what you learned in the other parak Ilun Haragin Aratzeach Anchi Nidachas Bishlam Nidachas Ibu Lefi Cherf El Ratzeh Amin Allah. What does he say? Are killed in this manner is Netanya Nakam Nikimazu and Yodea Ma'u. Shoim Revesav Alecha Charev Nikam Abres Avir Nikimazu is what side for the sword? Vema Debar is lay Mivras. Says the Gemara, how do you know? Maybe he should stab him and not cut off his head. Lefi Charev Ksiv, the edge of the sword. Vema Davale Gistra. Says the Gemara, maybe they should cut in half down the center of his body. Amrav Nachan Amrav Vu Amar Kra. V'havta Recha Kamecha Bar Eloi Misa Yafe. Says the Gemara, Ashkechan de Kotal Avda Berchairin. Says the Gemara, we see that there's a makar for killing one who's a slave. Ashkechan de Kotal Avda Berchairin. In other words, you can still kill a free person. V'lav Kav Chaimro. Kotal Avda B'Sayif Berchairin B'Chenek. As we saw yesterday, Michael Amir. Hanoki mikarechu, scared of the blood that's clean from your place. If you decapitate the animal with a sword, minat savar from the neck. Says Marawedi, it's on the back of the neck, which is a tremendous knife. Afghan bekoipet sigdami. It's the same thing with mol iref. Amar Nachman Amar Avu Amar Krav after Recha Kamaycha Parur Lai Misa Yafa. And that's the reason we don't do that, because that'll be a more gruesome death. Pick it up from the Mishnah, B'siyata Dishmaya.